Hey everybody, welcome to Unscripted, where we're all about inspiring better conversations and thinking more deeply and critically about faith, life, and leadership. My name is Sam. I'm here with my good friend Mike. How are you doing today?
Hey Sam, good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. How's the week going? You enjoying this nice weather?
I'm loving it. We were just, before the camera started, we were just talking about how it seems like summer.
It's such a summer day.
Yeah, summer's here. It's amazing. I love it. 80 some degrees, perfect. Can't be better.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm just going to say that. But like the humidity is like a thing, right?
Oh, shut up.
Not really. I love it. I'm actually enjoying it.
No, the humidity is nice. The warmth is nice. You can't complain about cold all winter and then not enjoy summer. So.
See, my trick is I don't complain about the cold.
Okay.
So
my deal with God is I complain about the cold all winter, and then no matter what happens in summer, it can be 100 degrees and humid, I promise I don't complain. So
awesome.
I feel like you can't really complain year round.
All right.
So I only complain in winter. Summer, no matter how hot it gets, I'm not complaining.
Good
Even when I get in the car.
Oh, really?
Like, you get in the car and like the sun's been beating out all day. That's like a warm hug from God.
That's awesome.
That's how it's like a warm hug from God. It's amazing.
I don't actually mind that part, like being, because I know it's like only a short-lived thing. Like normally I'm just drive around town, and I have a car right now. It's like our beater car, like it's the one that just gets around town and all that kind of stuff, and it doesn't have AC in it.
Okay.
So literally, I go in there, I'm like, I'm just gonna embrace it. It's like a big warm hug every time, and I just get into the big warm hug, and I'm okay.
I know. See, it's all about perspective.
It totally is.
Summer's here. It's awesome.
Yeah, and summer's here. You're drinking like a summery drink.
Yeah, but this is a mistake. Last week I had LaCroix, and we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was hibiscus,
which is the best flavor.
Okay, well, one of the best
in my
for sure.
mind.
This is raz cranberry. I don't actually like it.
Okay.
Danny on the camera here asked me right before we got started, like, why do I have it then? Because it was in the fridge. Like, it was there. Janet bought it, so I have it. But I don't really like raz cranberry. Not as good as hibiscus. And then the other one, though, that she had in there that I refuse to drink is, I don't know how you say it, but like pamplemousse.
Oh, okay.
Isn't
that grapefruit?
It's stink fruit, man. It's whatever it is. I hate it.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure which one that is.
That's the worst.
Okay.
I drink pond water. It's the worst. This is not that great, but it's way better than that.
But why are you drinking it if it's not that great?
Because it was in the fridge.
And there's no other options?
Did you ever go to the fridge and open it and just eat what's ever there?
Yes.
Okay. Same thing with the drinks, right?
Okay.
Like, it's there. It's cold. I am drinking it.
Do you have to like?
It was this or water from the faucet. Those are my options.
And you weren't going for the faucet water.
Not in the moment.
Okay.
This was colder. I didn't need ice. Like, there's positives.
All right. So really random question, because I'm curious. Is that like a try it? So you bought a case and then you decide that you don't like it?
She likes it.
Oh, okay. So
we usually like have whatever's at the store, whatever's at Webster's, she just gets.
Yeah.
And so this was there, pamplemousse or whatever, however you say it was there. Those stink. Webster's, you're out of lemon. Come on. So like that would be like more my style, or like I said, hibiscus. There's probably another one that I like.
All right.
So, but it was there, whatever.
What I've been doing lately, so this is totally random and not really worthy of much, but I'll tell you anyways, is I take Pure, like the plain stuff, and I put a little bit of actual lemon juice. Like lemon juice in that with ice.
Yep.
And it's a little bit more like juice in there. It tastes a little better. It's really good. So there you go.
Good.
Now you can do that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
and plain is good too. I like plain. So because you can drink it plain or spruce it up.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. All right, so I'm curious. So today could either be really short and like to the point, or we could talk for a really long time about this. So I'm curious. And I want to set it up a little bit.
So I wonder what everyone listening right now is thinking. Like, are they hoping short or are they hoping long? So you could reply, like, let us know. Do you want shorter or longer, right?
Yeah, totally.
We could do that. So.
And again, like we've always said, if you have questions that you want us to talk about, something you think would be interesting to hear us talk about or engage with, we would love for you to send those our way. You can send it to us on Instagram at RCC Unscripted, or you can send it our way to my email address, samprowitz@riponchurch.com. Either of those things are great ways for you to engage. We love your questions. We've incorporated a couple of them here and there, and we'd love to incorporate some more.
Awesome.
So feel free for those things. Today, I just want to ask you, I feel like this is the perfect time to ask this question. Thinking about a little bit of leadership stuff, and I've had the opportunity for like 11 years. You've been here for like 20 years, right? Literally
Almost.
leading here for 20 years.
Yep.
And I'd say that...
Here's an interesting thing. We are about like 1 month away. It was July 24th, 2001, that we found the church building as a possible place to host a church, and then called the owner of it and stuff. So the 20-year anniversary of choosing Ripon is coming up in a month.
That's
amazing.
That's
interesting.
That's 20 years then, like literally 20 years that you've been working on this place.
Yep.
That's amazing. Okay, so 20 years, God's done some incredible things through your leadership here. So that's pretty awesome. I can say that because I've been watching it for 11 years and been part of it for 11 years. And I was thinking about that and thinking about how I've had the chance to kind of observe and watch and really benefit from it for 11 years. And one of the things that I think people maybe have seen your leadership from the perspective of being a part of the church and attending services and being part of community groups or whatever stuff. But one of the things that I get to see, because I'm with you often and I've watched you, I've had vigorous debates and conversations with you about a multitude of things, is this one thing that I think is maybe the part of your leadership that I feel like I've learned the most from and benefited the most from and feel like is worth sharing in a really significant way. It's this. You have a tendency to give away opportunities and give away power and give away opportunities for people to lead. You try to set other people up for success a lot. And I feel like I've benefited that because I've gotten more speaking opportunities here than I ever would have at other places. I've gotten more opportunities to lead in different ways than I ever would right away off the ground than other places. And I just thought I'd ask you a little bit about that. Why is that? Or how did it get to the place where that's what you do?
Well, again, sounding kind of pastoral here, as like the churchy dude, but that's what God does, man. God gives people opportunity all the time. God will engage with you as deep as you want to engage with him. If you want to be super serious about your faith, talk to God all the time, commune with him, worship him, do stuff with him, do stuff for him. He's there and he encourages you and you learn and you grow. That's just how God is. So as God is our example, you got to follow. And then take that right straight through to Jesus. Like Jesus gave people opportunities. The disciples, a bunch of ding-dongs. Before beginning, I mean, I know they're disciples. I'm going to meet them in heaven. They're probably going to holler at me for saying they were ding-dongs. But they were ding-dongs until they started to follow Jesus. And, they were just normal guys who were full of mistakes and they obviously weren't that bright given what their career record had been before that. And yet Jesus chose them and then gave them opportunities. And then they thrived with those opportunities. Yeah. So I think we as people just need to do the same thing. If that's what Jesus did, well, it's good enough for Jesus. It's got to be good enough for us. So I think what you're saying is we need, and I have given people opportunity. Yeah. And then it's up to you to do something with it. And you, for example, you had an opportunity when you were still in college. You wrote me a letter. You said, hey, I'm interested maybe in an internship, whatever. I'm like, all right, well, let's talk. And so there was no job offer. There was no pay, but you had a window open. Yeah. And then you made something out of it. And here it is, all these years later, and look at what that open window did for you. But I didn't drag you through the window. I didn't even push you through the window. I just opened it. And then you crawled through. So I think that's the way you give people opportunity. Does that make sense?
It does. And I'm curious, how do you choose when and how to give people opportunities?
Well, okay. Again, straight from the Bible. God chooses leaders. God chose David all the way back in 1 Samuel. God chose him based on his heart, his thoughts, and his intentions, who he was on the inside. I try to do the same. So sometimes people can seem really super knowledgeable or whatever, experience, whatever it might be, but their heart just doesn't quite seem right. And then you test it a little bit, right? There's a way you sometimes can test people's hearts. You can test it a little bit and find out. Or someone is totally inexperienced, but same deal. You give them an opportunity and you test their heart a little bit and kind of see. And if someone reveals like that their heart is pure, they have the right intentions, then the obvious choice is yes, give them an opportunity.
Okay. So a couple questions off of that. The first is this. So say someone's listening, they're leading a business, they're leading a school, they're leading in some capacity, a nonprofit, whatever it is, and they're trying to assess who they should give opportunities to or not. How do you make that assessment? I know it to me it sounds like you're saying it's a gut thing, but I'm wondering like what for you shows somebody's heart in a way that you want to give them more opportunities and give them more opportunities to lead and to have authority and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it becomes more of a gut thing. As you do it more and more over the years, it's easier and easier to kind of identify who has a pure heart just through your experience. So that it becomes a gut thing. But at first, and I love teaching this stuff. It's something I'm excited about my future, teaching people leadership principles within businesses and schools and all that stuff. I think it's super important. Because I think there's lots of people within a business, within a school, within a church, wherever, that have so much potential. They just need an opportunity. And then once they make good on that first opportunity, then some help, right? And then you just help them grow, and you almost get to stand back and watch what they turn into. over 20 years here, there's been a ton of people who have turned into amazing, amazing Christian leaders, either at work or at home or even here at church. I mean, we have teens sometimes leading all the adults in worship.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen in a lot of places. But here you can have a 16-year-old on stage leading 2,000 people at the high school in worship, or every Sunday here in this building in worship. So that's exciting, but you start by giving them an opportunity, and it, like I said, eventually it becomes a gut thing, but it begins with a bit more of an analysis. You got to talk to them. Okay. You got to sit down before it's just like, oh, you want to lead this thing? Oh, great, lead it. It's not that simple, but you start to have a conversation. Why? Why do you feel like you need to lead this? Or why do you feel you want to be involved in this? And then you listen carefully to their answer. There's a lot of why questions. Why do you want to do it that way? Right? Yeah. Everything's why. It's like
a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah, right. It's like being a female. Why? You want to lead? Why? Oh, you want to do it that way? Why? And their answers reveal their heart. They always do.
So you're kind of in a room with somebody who's just beginning to start leading. They haven't really developed that gut feeling yet. Your advice to them is, when you're interviewing somebody for a position, you want them to start asking the why questions. Like those are the questions that you think start to get to the character.
I want to ask them the why questions.
Yeah. What I'm saying is you're getting. I'm sorry. Like, if you're advising somebody who is trying to lead others and hire maybe for tough positions, you want the character comes out through the why questions you say.
Right. Yeah. So, for instance, a lot of times in interview situations, people ask how. How will you do that?
Definitely.
The how isn't really that important. The why is what's important. So, for example, let's say someone wants to lead worship here at church, right? You could talk about how, but there's a lot of great ways to lead worship, even if it's different than what we're used to here. As seen in churches all over the world, there's multiple ways to do it really, really well. Yeah. So how isn't what's important, it's why. So like in the past, people have wanted to come here and lead worship, but then when we talked about it, the real why was they were hoping to have a booth downstairs here in the building, and they were going to sell their CDs afterwards. That was the why. That's not wrong.
No.
To try to make a business out of your music and sell your CDs, there's nothing wrong with that. I hope that people can make a living with their music, but that's not the right reason why to lead worship on a Sunday morning at a church. See the difference?
I definitely see the difference.
They're not a bad person, but they're just not being called to lead worship at your church in that moment.
Okay.
Even though they're super talented, very experienced, you listen to them and it's like, wow. But if the why is wrong, the worship will be wrong.
Okay.
If the why is wrong, the leadership will be wrong. If the why is wrong, the children's ministry will be wrong. The why has to be right.
Yeah.
And then the details of how and all that, you muddle through that. You figure it out together. And it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. All that's fine as long as the why is right.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I'm curious, it really sounds like when you're thinking about how to give authority away, give people position, give people new responsibilities, and you're going to trust them with this, because that's really what it is. It's a vote of confidence to this person. Are there any other, it sounds like character is a big part of that for you. It's like the most important part.
Yes.
So with that, are there any other character questions that you ask? Any other character things that you look for? Maybe it's not even questions. It's just the other things that you're always looking for, that it's not just a why, but it's also, oh, I see them do this. Or
integrity.
Okay.
Trustworthiness, loyalty.
How do you look for those things?
Oh, man, they're revealed in conversations. You got to talk.
Okay.
You can't figure it out in 3 minutes. But for example, back on you, over time, we had conversations way many years ago, and your integrity was revealed. Your character was revealed through troubled times, through mistakes even.
Yeah.
You can try to hide the mistake or make an excuse for the mistake, or you can just say, you know what, yeah, I was wrong, and I agree, and here's how I do it different next time, or whatever. Yeah. That's beautiful. I hope people make mistakes and then know why they're wrong and then fix it next time. Definitely. That's how you learn. That's absolutely fine, right?
Yeah.
So it gets revealed. In the same with trust, the same with loyalty. All of it. It just gets revealed through contact together. And it's just a little step at a time.
So you would say don't rush that part.
Correct. Yeah, okay. Don't overcommit. Don't commit too soon. Just a little bit at a time, And by the time it's like, yes, this is a person that's going to lead, or you can trust, or whatever, you feel super confident.
Okay. So then...
Sean would be a great example here at church. Sean was part of our worship here for like 15 years before becoming the worship leader here. 15 years of experience, I was not at all worried about that hire.
Yeah.
I knew him. I saw him lead. I've been through life stuff with him. We became friends. It was a really easy choice. And people go to me and it's like, wow, it's so great. How'd you find Sean? Well, it took 15 years to find Sean.
It took 15 years. It wasn't easy.
Yeah. But then it was a slam dunk. And if you've been at worship in the last 6 months, you know that it was a slam dunk.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of me being so smart. It wasn't because of Sean being such a great singer or guitar player or leader of others. It was all that integrity stuff that got built up over those years and a common view of what God says or what God does and how much we can trust Jesus. All those things were secured between us. And so the actual leadership part and the job details part was secondary.
Yes. Okay. That's really, really great. And I love how it's from like the hiring beginning standpoint of things. But then as you're trying to develop people and you're trying to grow them and you're trying to give them more authority, what is going through your mind when you're thinking about whether or not to give somebody a new opportunity or to push somebody? Like, I mean, for us, I mean, when we've talked back and forth and done different things, typically it's been, hey, I have this idea, I want to try this. And then you say, okay, go for it. And that's just how it happens. But sometimes you need to push people. Sometimes you need to kind of hold them back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you go through that process when you're thinking about that for somebody?
I think it begins with having high expectations for them.
Sure.
And recognizing the potential that's within them. So I taught school for many years and coached basketball. I had really high expectations for every kid. I expected they would get an A in every subject.
Yeah.
And most of them always did. But you got to start with the high expectation. And then when someone knows that you think they can do it, then they do it. Right? You got to think you're going to win. So I have very high expectations for people. And not critically. Not like, oh, I think you're going to be so amazing if you're not, I'm angry. Not that. But just like, I think you'll be an amazing leader for RCC beginning next year.
Yeah.
I have history with you. I know who you are. I have this giant expectation that you're going to be a better leader than me. That's what I expect. So with anyone, when you have those high expectations, first of all, it empowers them, right, to strive for those things themselves, to see the potential they have within. It empowers them to see it too. And then you just turn them loose and let them go after it and coach along the way, right? Because my high expectations for you aren't just your skill set, but if we go back, it's the integrity and all that, your character, all that stuff too. So if you're messing something up, I'm going to point it out.
Yeah.
And again, we've dealt with a lot of things over the years, not super hypercritical or angry, but just like, hey, I really think you should have said this or done this a different way. And then as the relationship develops, you see how the person responds. And they learn and they grow, and then your expectations grow even more for them.
Yeah, that's really good. I think the high expectations piece is really important.
It works for your kids. Everyone watching, if you have children, this all works for children just like it works at work or at school or anywhere else. To have high expectations for your kids and a high trust level for your kids and to teach them to have integrity and trust and loyalty. It works everywhere. Okay. Because these aren't things I invented. This is all straight from God. This is what you see in Scripture from God, what He's looking for.
Yes. Okay. So I love that you brought in parenting because that's such an interesting one. Because I took one of our boys to his first baseball practice ever. He's never done baseball before. He was trying it out and watching them coaching. Coaches were awesome. They did an amazing job. It was really, really cool to watch. But as I was thinking about that, like there's expectations, and you have to find that balance of knowing how to be hard on somebody or not. And with your kids, it's so delicate. And I've seen parents who are just really critical. And they have high expectations.
I've seen it too.
Well, they have high expectations.
It's in the wrong stuff.
But yeah, so okay, how do you differentiate that? We'll do a little parenting thing, and then we'll bridge
let's
it to
do t-ball or baseball or whatever. Yeah. Great. Your expectation shouldn't be that junior is going to be great at hitting the ball or throwing or catching the ball or whatever. That's the wrong expectation. The right expectation going in is junior's going to try really hard. Okay, that's what I'm demanding as a parent. You're going to try really hard. You're going to listen to your coach.
Yeah.
Generally they're all good coaches. People always have opinions about coaches, but generally kids have good coaches. So you're going to do what your coach tells you to do. You're going to listen to the instructions they give you. You're going to work really hard. Those are my high expectations, and you're going to have a great attitude about it.
Yes.
Right. Those are my high expectations because I believe if you do all those things, you eventually will become a really good baseball player, even if you're not when you're 5 or 7 or whatever. That's not the time to be the baseball star. The time to be the baseball star is when you're older, like high school or whatever. Yeah. That's when baseball is a really big deal. Learn that whole time, and you develop those other skills, integrity and hard work and listening and all that stuff. You'll get good at whatever you want to do. Baseball is just the outcome of the good stuff.
So it's the attitude, not necessarily, and the effort, not the.
Be encouraging to your teammates, right? Have good sportsmanship, all those things, do all that stuff right, and work really, really hard. Do everything your coach tells you to do. Practice your butt off outside of the team practice, right?
Yeah.
You go, if you really love it, go home and work on it. All those things, you'll get really good at whatever you want to be good at, whether it's baseball, guitar, whatever.
Okay, perfect. This is where it gets into work stuff, because you made a comment that I think is really thoughtful for when we talk about heart versus skill set. Mm-hmm. So you said high school, then you can maybe worry about, or college or whatever. When you get to a certain age, that's when maybe you should be worried about the skill set for
high school. I mean, and as you approach high school.
Yeah, that's when you can really start to hone in on it.
Yeah.
And the point I think you're making is if you have a good attitude and work ethic, you actually get there as fast as anybody else. But when you're running a business, when you're teaching and coaching or whatever it is, at what point do you work with a heart versus skill set for giving people authority and power and leadership opportunities?
Well, the heart comes first.
Totally.
The heart comes first. And so rarely does someone have a really pure heart or really good intentions or whatever, and then not be able to do the skill set of the job. Because skills can be learned. I mean, sometimes, like, for instance, baseball, okay? You can become a very good baseball player by listening to your coaches, working really hard, and really enjoy baseball throughout your youth. There is some natural ability there that you might not be able to play in the pros someday.
Yes.
Right? Or basketball either. Everyone wants to be a basketball player, so did I. But no matter how hard you work, you might not have the NBA level skill set within you, in your genes.
Yeah.
Okay. That you can't get there with that.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're generally ever shooting for. We're shooting for being effective in our world, and that's not NBA level basketball or top leadership level stuff at Microsoft where you're managing $100 million accounts or whatever. There's different skills involved then.
Yeah.
But for normal everyday stuff, day by day, whether it's at home, as children, as parents, whatever, at school or in a workplace, if your heart and intentions are right and you work really hard on your skills, you'll be good.
Yeah.
You'll be good. Earlier today, I was talking with Kathy Rowland. Kathy Rowland does all of our, as you know, does all of our program media stuff here at church. 15 years ago or so when she started, she knew nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Nothing. Like, and I don't mean to disrespect her, but turning on the computer was an adventure. It just wasn't. And I'm not like super computer literate either. So, she and I can kind of joke about that together.
For sure.
Now, look at what she can do.
She can do all kinds of amazing things.
And that wasn't based on her skill set from 15 years ago.
You're absolutely right.
15 years ago, if you would have shown her everything she could, and we talked about this today, you would have shown her everything that she could do now, she would have said, there's absolutely no way I might as well quit today. I could never do that. I'm happy with just typing up a one-page document and figuring out how to do a Word document.
Yeah.
Like a Word document was a big deal, or sending an email was a big deal. Now, make original videos from nothing, incorporating video and music and all this stuff she does. Like, she does so much. But right heart, right intentions, tons of hard work, listen, adjust, all those good things she's done over the years, and look at what she can do now.
Yeah.
She still might not be the talent level of directing programming for Disney. Of course, her skills might not be that, but they're really, really good for us and really, really good for tons of other places too. The Disney level talent programmer, though, that might be a especially gifted person.
Yeah, with particular.
And that you just don't know about. You just keep developing, and some people develop into that, but most never get. We never get to Disney programming. We never get to have a 10,000 person, 100,000 person concerts because we're such great musicians. We don't get to the NBA. That's a rare group. But there's a giant group of people right below that. They get to do amazing things throughout all different groups and skill sets and entertainments or whatever it is.
Yeah,
businesses.
And I think what you're describing just now, where you talk about that group of people that maybe isn't the pro level, whatever, but they're able to benefit and give out their skill set in ways that are beneficial to other people, and they get to participate in that way. That's an incredible group of people. And I think we have a society that really celebrates a particular kind of success that like has to be fame or whatever it is. But I think there's a kind of success where you are patient, you're diligent, you have the right heart, you put the work ethic in, and then you get to experience the fruits of having that kind of a skill set, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, if we talk about Kathy, she's making a living doing programming, doing media type stuff.
Absolutely. When
15 years ago she could not. I had no idea of what her internal skill set, her natural abilities could possibly be. Maybe she would have developed all the way and left here for Disney 3 years ago. I don't know. That you don't know as you lead someone else. You don't really know for sure what their intrinsic abilities are. But you lead them, you coach them, you empower them, you encourage them, you correct them, and over time that gets revealed. But if they're working with you all the way along the way, they become really, really good, whether they're working at Disney or a church or wherever.
So in a way, what you're saying is as the leader then of a group of people, you're playing the cards that you're dealt, and you're playing them with patience and with thoughtfulness,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that like you might not have the best hand, that like the Disney level hand, right? But you have a really good hand.
Yep.
And
And some of them are wild cards, and you don't even know.
yeah, for
You know, if
sure.
you want to use cards, some are wild cards.
Yeah.
You didn't know the Three of Hearts was wild, you know, but then you find out later that it was, and now you have an amazing hand.
So
That's this church.
Yeah.
That's a really good description of this church. We have so many amazing people, and they just need to be given opportunities. And when they got their opportunities, they soared with them. You know, Kirk and MZ Yazel, they do Mission Lazarus, right?
Yeah.
And the first time they ever went, they were even nervous to go. Like I met with them before they went as attenders of it. And they were a little bit nervous about the whole deal. And I just tried to encourage them a little bit. And they're great-hearted people with all the right intentions. And they went with the right intentions. And now they lead the whole thing, you know. That's this church in so many different ways.
Yeah, it is.
It just takes, I'll try. That's it. I'll try. And then you help people.
That's really cool. It's fun to say. I'm trying to get in a couple of quick things, and then there's a last part of this I want to talk about with you. But the interesting thing when you're analyzing this for people that you're leading, part of it is heart, but and you talked about that. That's a biblical basis. But there is another aspect of it of just work ethic. Mm-hmm. And I think this is the thing that I sometimes hesitate about is I've seen people and heard people say they have just such a good heart, but they're just not performing. And that's a weird place to be, right?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that kind of
You got to
situation?
work, man. You got to be willing to work. You got to be willing to work. You can always work. You know, that's you can look at everyone else on the team and decide you're going to work the hardest.
Yeah.
You know, that's a choice.
It totally is.
And so you can see it in people, right? It just how hard are they actually going to work at it? I mean, it'd be great to go play in the NBA right now. You know, if you're 18 years old, you know how much work would be required to actually do that, though? And the people that make it behind the scenes, how much work they do. The guitar hero in the band, they practice 1 million hours at home in the basement.
Yeah.
That no one ever sees.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
the ballerina. You know, I went to college with someone who was a ballerina, and like all they ever did all day was devote their life to that. Before school, after school, all night. No one saw any of that. They see them on the stage flipping around and go, wow, that's so amazing. They're so naturally talented. Well, yes, they are naturally talented, but they also worked harder than anybody else too.
Yeah, they did.
It was both of those things. So you got to be willing to work.
Awesome. All right, here's the last thing I want to ask you about, because I think this gets at something that I admire about you and something that we've talked about a number of different times. There's a sense in which you have empowered other people for success in a lot of ways throughout the last 20 years. So many things. I mean, there's 3 church plants out of this place that are like directly from people that spent time here serving. And it's amazing. Those people have been empowered in some really cool ways, and you had a hand in that. It's really cool. But there's another piece to this where when you give power away, when you give other people authority and opportunities to lead, you're also giving away an opportunity for you yourself to get credit or praise.
Yeah, I don't want it.
Wow, why and how?
I don't want it, man. Well, again, if you go back to the Bible,
I know.
I'm sorry. All answers go back to the Bible, but
good.
they do. If you go back to the Bible, if you get credit for something here on earth, that's the credit you get, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Okay, let's say you do something really amazing, and people recognize it and say, "Wow, really good job," or "I'm so proud of you," or whatever. You got your reward. That's what God says. You got your reward. If you didn't get a reward, if you've done something in private and others took credit for it or whatever, God says in Scripture, He's got your back and He'll reward you. I just prefer that. I could, maybe if I do something really nice out in the community and you saw it, and you're like, wow, that's really impressive, Mike. Way to go. That's really nice. That'd be cool. I'd like it. And I would enjoy it. And I'd go home feeling good. Like Sam thought I was smart today. I'd feel good about it. That's a win. But an even bigger win is for God to say it. Right?
Yeah.
Like no one recognized your hard work. No one even knows you did it. But God knows. God knows everything.
He does.
Right? So I'll just trust in that. I'll trust that God, and I think my life over the last 30 years has seen so many rewards from God. God knows. God takes care of you here, now, right? His kingdom is here now, and also in heaven. I'll just rest on that.
It's a really good place to be, because I think if you're looking for all the recognition and all the rewards from other people, it's going to be a miserable life because there'll never be enough.
And if I recognize that in someone else, their why is wrong. If we go right back to the beginning,
Yeah.
if you're doing it for recognition, your why is wrong.
Your why is wrong.
And I'm not that excited to work with you then.
I think that's the title of the podcast.
All right.
Your why is wrong.
Your why is wrong. Yeah.
Or your why is showing.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Oh, man. This is so good.
Will you use like a picture of a plumber from behind? And, Your Y is showing? I'm sorry, if that was inappropriate, you can delete that out.
No, I think that can stay. That's really good. I don't know if we're going to use that as a picture. Only if you can pose for it. No, I'm just kidding.
Nobody wants to see that.
Too far.
Yeah, that would be... Yeah, Unscripted would have 0 people watching next week.
There you go. All right. Or 1 million. One or the other.
Probably not. Probably not.
Awesome. That's the last of what I had prepared, or what I wanted to ask you about, what my thoughts were. So with that said, is there anything else you want to share, or anything else you want to top that off with?
No, but let's talk more about leadership stuff. This is my favorite, maybe my favorite topic, or certainly one of my favorite topics.
Yeah.
So let's do this more, please.
I think that's the plan.
From different angles. And again, you said people could submit questions, leadership type questions. Let us have it, and let Sam have it. So I'm surprised. But
yeah, don't tell him.
Don't tell me, but tell Sam. And I think it'd be great to talk more about leadership, because we're all leaders according to God.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to lead in your home, in your classroom, on your team. There's so many opportunities. You just got to recognize them and feel like, yeah, God wants me to do this. I can do it.
Yeah.
Because the way we try to walk with people here and help them lead, God even more so if your intentions are right.
Yeah.
Right. God is the one who's really walking with them. So I just want them to try to get them to walk with God, and then step back and see what happens.
Yeah. And to have the right why.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. That's fantastic. And we can kind of, maybe we'll call this like a little bit of a summer of leadership, right? Because we're starting the summer, and we can get into some summer leadership stuff.
Fun.
So I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. With that, thanks so much for tuning in. As always, if you found this to be beneficial, don't be afraid to share this with somebody. This is really fun. I've got, actually, as we were talking, I had a couple people in mind I'm gonna send this to, just because it's super fun stuff, and I think it can be beneficial. And if it's somebody that you think would benefit from it, definitely share it. You can follow us at RCC Unscripted on Instagram, and then also you can subscribe on Spotify, iTunes, or we always have this visible on YouTube as well. With that, have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Out.